All right, we are starting. There's literally 10 beverages in front of me.
Yeah,
There's
I have 2 here.
Coffee, wine, water. We're ready.
Yeah,
We're hydrating and dehydrating.
And a thing of ice.
And a thing of ice. That's just how we roll. We're cash here, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is a big deal.
You are founder of the 10 Spot Beauty Bar. Can you big up how many locations you have?
So 43 with another 3 opening this quarter.
No big deal.
Coast to coast, all right?
Coast to coast.
Across Canada and into the United States of America.
Wow.
No, yeah, I'm joking, but it actually,
No, but
it's really exciting.
And
yeah.
how many of
Sorry,
those are
I wasn't joking about where we are. I was joking about just the tone of voice that I was using.
Yeah, okay. Got noted.
It was very it was Canadian at first,
Yeah.
but that is huge. And you started it in 2006?
2006 when I was 24.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's been it was really, I started with the one location in downtown Toronto after I had been fired for the second time. Do you guys even know this story?
From where? The 10 spot?
I only know from she started the 10 spot.
Where were you fired from?
So I had gotten laid off from a graphic design thing. I was actually good at the graphic design, but just like not good at being an employee. And in fact, to the point that like I had been fired 2 times and the first one was from an unpaid internship. So I was just like, but it was fine because I knew that I was going to have my own business one day. My dad had instilled in us since we were little that we were going to find out whatever you love in life and then make that into a business.
Well, that's good advice.
So, yeah, very good advice.
Yeah.
And actually, I feel like
Cheers
it was
to that.
I didn't realize it at the time, but it's very much about purpose. You know, like find something that you love doing in life and then it won't feel
like a job.
like a job.
Well, sometimes a job feels like a job and it shouldn't. If you're lucky enough to be able to do something you're passionate about.
Yes. Yeah. And so for me, it was, I'd written a bunch of business plans when I was younger. And when I say written, I mean like thought of them and maybe like did like a little one-pager.
I was going to say sounds
Same.
familiar.
And so then I ended up, I went to university and then I bounced around a little bit. I lived in New York for a bit, Montreal for a bit, and I didn't really have anything else on my resume other than really well organized. So I went back to school.
Which is a skill.
It is a skill.
Yeah.
So I went back to school for graphic design and I ended up loving it. And I thought that it would be useful for when I finally had a really good business idea that I could then do my own branding and marketing and make my own
true. We
cute
spent
little
a
logos.
lot of money on that, dude.
We leaned on a lot of people for that. We should have called you.
Everything. We were like, you know what? If we
should've.
can't do this, we'll find someone that can. And then
No, do you know what's so
every
funny?
aspect of our business, if we can't do it, we'll find. So you literally.
So I was working as a
Yeah.
graphic designer, the company was dissolving, but still I got laid off. I didn't understand labor law at the time. So I thought that I was getting this like sick payout of my 2 weeks in lieu of notice. And I thought I must be so valued at this company that they would actually give me a package. They presented me a package. Meanwhile, it was just my termination, papers of here, you're out of here.
This is basic, girl.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm clearly not good at being an employee. I have this sick pile of cash, which I think was about $1,200 from the 2 weeks. And then I thought, this is it. Like, this is my time to start my business. I'm going to think of something great. So I asked a friend of mine to go for a slice of pie, Craig. And I was like, let's brainstorm what I'm going to do as my business, super great, awesome business idea. And we went to do you remember Tequila Bookworm on Queen Street? Like way back in the day, the Drake had just opened. So Queen Street just had the Drake Hotel that just opened.
Yeah.
Chahovsky's, which was this really
gosh,
cool
the bar was
bar, right?
That was my favorite bar.
Yeah.
That was like, see, they need something like that for us people.
Well, that was also one of the first kind of cool, tapas.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was right on Queen Street. And then there was the Japanese paper place, so cute little store. And then there was this Tequila Bookworm cafe, like it was like pies and like cute stuff. And I was like, Craig, just coming down here, dude, like I want a store on Queen Street. It's adorable down here. It was up and coming, so you could tell. It was still pretty sketchy, but it was also like you could tell
it was getting
a turn. And so I was like, done. This is what I'm going to do. And then I was like, all right, let's brainstorm what I'm going to put in my adorable little store on Queen Street. And so when I lived in New York City, I had actually lived above a nail bar or a nail salon. Like it was not high-end experience
I was
whatsoever.
gonna say, how are those fumes?
Yeah, it was. Luckily, I was never home. But so anyway, when I would go home, I would see it, at all different times, like morning, noon, night. It was very busy all the time. I was like, what if I did that, just not sketchy, and sort of took the best of the lower end salon world, which would be, like that. It's busy. It's chattery. It's fun. It's casual, and then married it with the high end spa market. And at the time, like this times, I feel like there's a lot of these now. But at the time in Toronto and New York, there was really nothing like that. There was the Ritz-Carlton Spa or the Hyatt. And I felt like being a 24-year-old person, it was like, well, we can go for brunch and then we can go to some shops, but it would be fun to have something, a third thing to do with your weekend that you can do with your girlfriends. So then I thought, well, I'll also make it sort of more of a social spa vibe where you sit, instead of going into individual rooms or being at individual stations, I'll have one long, concrete manicure bar. And then do the petty stations all together.
Okay, so going back to, so you have this idea. So how do you get from like you've got $1,200 in an idea to now you have a business?
Yeah, so built that really quickly. I wrote my business plan overnight, dropped it off at the bank. Didn't have a banker. I just had a guy that had set up my RSPs the year before. And so I dropped it off to him. I was so naive. And I think that actually it was a real bonus being so naive because I just did what I thought was logical through all of the steps. And I didn't really get too hung up on what if I don't have customers? What if they don't come? Because I was like, I don't have a place yet. It was a lot easier to get money for sure.
Yeah.
But it was, I still use the same, whenever our franchise partners use the same government guaranteed loan that I got back in the day. So it was the small business one. But yeah, then the next day I just walked up and down Queen Street, went into all of the little shops and said like, hey, I've got this super great business idea. Gonna open a little spa, but not really spa and not really salon. It's like a nail bar, beauty bar type of thing. I was like, do you know of anybody that's leaving or leasing their space? Like, are you leasing? And so finally I found a woman. She ended up introducing me to her landlord, found the space. I signed the lease out getting the financing, but I paid my first and last months. I had some savings, so I used my first and last months. And then just started telling everybody. I was like, I'm doing this thing. I'm opening up this beauty bar.
Made you more accountable too, probably, because you're like, okay, shit, now I'm telling everyone.
Now it's
I
for
actually
real.
do it.
Yeah, and then people would just introduce me to people. So I told my old boss, he's like, you're probably gonna need a contractor. I was like, probably. Don't
You're like gonna add that to the business plan.
Add that to the list. So then I'd be introduced to him, and then the contractor would say, oh, you're probably gonna need a lawyer to incorporate. I was like, sure will. Where do I get that? And he's like,
that's so cool. But that's you figured out, like, listen, with business, it's a learning experience for everyone. I don't care where you come from, especially with a small business. Like, you do everything and you learn from the ground up. Like, it's crazy how like resilient you can be to like, just like, okay, if like you're that determined.
Yeah, exactly. So by I think it was 3 or 4 months, we were open to the public.
That's impressive.
How many staff?
Well, and you did all the graphic, right?
I did. Well, so that night that I wrote my business plan, I had done my logo. I was like, well, I can't submit my business plan in an unprofessional way using my Hotmail address. So like I should register my URL.
Right.
And so yeah, I had kind of like set everything up, and then I ended up getting staff through just calling the schools and saying, I guess I need estheticians. And there wasn't Indeed. I think there was Craigslist. I might have posted on Craigslist.
Or Kijiji, yeah.
I don't even know if Kijiji was around. We're big in a way here. Ended up hiring my staff, was open. And then I realized that I wasn't good at the day-to-day management stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. So like every day needs to be different for me. I need that constant creativity and like creating something. So having that day-to-day of just like opening up the shop and like managing the staff, and I didn't enjoy the face-to-face public aspect of it too. Because also too, I was 24 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was constantly making mistakes. We actually had this one, and also the business wasn't set up properly. So I used pads of paper to do we didn't have a computer. I was at the beginning, no appointments, and it was walk-in only. However, we were getting so popular.
How do you market it? Like, how do people like
just walk
by? Like that's it, or you were like, you know what? Spread the word.
We were so unique in the city. There was nothing like us that just like word spread really quickly.
Did the Queen Street Market, that little area, they obviously had the budget because these manicures are more expensive than like the tip salons. Like they're a little bit more, right? Because you're getting more luxe experience. Like you're getting that.
Yes, but also,
that wasn't around. They're like, I think to Kristen's point, like it was like either like high super low end or super high end. Like there was nothing that like commoditized.
Like what's a gel manicure go for?
Now, like $65.
But 2006,
gel didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
So it was just polished.
It was just $25 for mani.
I feel like you were like literally the first to like commoditize the luxury spa experience. Wouldn't you say? Like, is that
I would love?
Like, can you put that on like?
Yeah.
If someone wrote that on
listen, I don't know if you were the first, but certainly, but certainly in Toronto, which is like that's.
Yeah, and even in New York at the time, there wasn't a lot of us at the same time.
You figured out a gap in the market. All good ideas come from a gap in the market and a need for something. So that's very cool. And
it was this niche that wasn't actually that niche at all. It ended up being that like this is what most women wanted.
Right.
And people came from everywhere. So it wasn't just the Queen West. Like we had people. I remember going to a Deepak Chopra retreat like in my second year of business. And there was somebody at my table that had heard of us.
Wow.
Because we also did a lot of, to your point, like how did we market?
Yeah.
Again, every brand is very authentic now and speaks the way that they normally speak. Back in the day, that wasn't how it was.
Yeah.
So my first flyer was like, I've opened up a nail bar. F yeah. Like, I'm so excited.
So on brand for you.
Or we
F
call
yeah.
I saw the t-shirt you were wearing in that opening picture.
Yeah, friendship slut.
Friendship slut.
Yeah.
You were like, that's me wearing a friendship slut t-shirt. I'm like, Kristen, you are authentic to, you're just,
yeah. So we had the threesome special. So it was like, come in, three gal pals come in for a petty and get free quickie manis. We had the hot box special. That was our Brazilian. I think we still run that one. Our male manicure, I called the hand job.
So good.
Because it was actually a job we did on our hands. And then it got, as we started growing.
We're like, okay, we're going to put our
we got it.
hats.
We understand it. So it was really fun in the beginning. So I did all of the market. I did my newsletter.
I was going to say, I'm just like literally trying to picture your age, like to start that, to take that on, like, that is insane. Like, were you like, if this fit, like, did you even think about if this doesn't work, or you were just like, I'm going all in, whatever?
I didn't really think about that kind of stuff at all. It was like, how could this not work? This is a great idea, and it looks cute in here, and
you're like,
well, you sold the dream, and everyone believed you. Like literally, sometimes it's like you fake it till you freaking make it. Like you didn't know what you were doing. You were 24. You had a niche concept at the time. You had a dream. You had a vision. You didn't have much else.
Yep. No skills whatsoever.
No skills.
No
management. Yeah. Like, no, you really just went full force. Yeah. And I actually think like that's not like, it's not a story where you came from a lot and it was an easy choice. Like you had to put a lot on the line. Yeah. So, and you were so busy. Like it felt like it was just like the right thing at the right time for you, even though you were so young. Like you kind of just saw that and went for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you couldn't have told yourself 2 years prior that that's what you were going to do. It just had to be
God,
like,
no.
Right.
And I think too, everything was it was very mad. I think of it as a very magical time.
That's so
just because in the way that everything led to, the contractor having the wife that was the lawyer. So actually then lawyer wife's sister owned,
a nail polish line.
No. Do you remember? It was like Daily Candy.
Yes.
Yes. Do you remember that?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Like what's going on in Toronto.
And it was a daily email that would just, and it was so big at the time. Yeah. I don't know if that's what it was called, but it was so big at the time. It was like she just had the goods on what was cool in the city and what was popping up, and then you'd get sent out on this thing. So we got in there. Like Fashion Magazine did a half-page spread on me,
like back in the day when that was
2 months of
when traditional media was like a really big way to promote yourself and advertise for yourself.
Yeah, it was great. But then we got so popular that people wanted to book appointments. So people would want to do a bachelorette party or, a bridal party. And so I'd write in my notebook, 6
big
people,
party
Saturday,
20.
big party, don't forget. And then of course would forget. So then, and today, actually it was one of the big PR people back in the city. It was her friend's bridal party. And I totally messed up on it. And we were packed. So it was like, I couldn't you know, all of these people getting pedicures.
You're like,
I'd be
sorry.
like, bye, can you wait an hour for maybe it was just bad. So then I realized that I had to do so much more work on the business. I didn't want to be on the front lines. So I ended up hiring a manager. And then I was able to actually do the creative stuff again, which was building out policies and protocols. And I wrote manuals for all of the, you know, I was like, I'm not going to manage. So I need to have a manager manual. Right. And then I need to have an aesthetics manual and a guest coordinator manual. So I worked on those, which was funny because I was actually building a franchise system,
I was just
getting all of those protocols and things written out, and those processes done.
Sounds kind of boring. You like that was creative.
Oh my God.
I feel like,
just get me on a Google slide deck. It's my favorite thing of life.
God.
Well, I feel like the first time I met, not the first time, because I actually did meet you in Nashville. Yeah. But the second time that I was around you for an extended period of time was Cheryl. So that's how we know you. Yep. So our friend, your partner's sister. Yeah. She connected us, and she had a girls' weekend at her cottage, and she's like, Kristen's coming. I'm like, great. Kristen comes, whips out a whiteboard. It's a girls' weekend at a cottage. We're all like, you know, drinking margaritas. Kristen's like, if you know Kristen, she fucking loves a whiteboard. She look at her.
Love an agenda.
She loves an agenda.
Relax. We haven't even started talking about Chad yet.
There's so much to talk about outside of all the amazing accomplishments that you've done through 10 Spot. But she whips out this whiteboard.
I thought you were gonna say she whips out something else. I got excited.
She whips out all kinds of things, but the whiteboard brought her the most pleasure. She sets the agenda, and I feel like that is just your personality. You are like, we got to stick to this, and if we were not on schedule,
spankings.
Literally, you
got to keep it moving.
Yeah. My first time at Girls Weekend, it was like, what is going on? There were like shots, push-ups, and like Kristen just getting us from one hot tub to the next, and everyone's boobs were out. There was not one girl in a bathing suit, and that was, I think, required.
It was on the agenda, actually.
It was literally, I was like, wow, this is just
time.
I actually think that's when I decided to get my boobs done.
When you saw mine?
Yeah, well, there was some good-looking ones in the hot tub. I compared
add it to the manual. Yeah. Add it to the manual, Kristen.
There you go.
But anyways, I think it's just in your personality. Like you are a drill sergeant, and I could just see you like loving those manuals, whipping people into shape. That's it's not a surprise you run a super successful business empire, honestly.
You're so sweet.
It really is in your personality. But okay, I know, because we talked about business, but we got like lots of other stuff to talk about.
Okay, the content, how we all met.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that, like, you know, we got to know each other quite like, you know, I mean, you went a few years prior to me. So we've known her for a while. Yeah. But when I came in,
did we do a girls' weekend before?
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, so
so I felt very honored that I got invited, but we were all, I remember like it was breakfast. We were hanging out on the dock. Do you remember us three? And there was other people. And
Kristen's sweating.
No, I had hung out with you the night before, but it was like hot tub, titty time. Like it was like a very blurry day. Okay. And then
we're nothing if not professional here.
It was morning. So we were more sober.
Yeah.
And we just started talking about the funniest shit. Like you were running your mouth, and I can run my mouth, but when I heard you talk, my jaw was on the floor, and I was crying. No. Do you remember our conversation?
I think you got to get into you've now built up this story, so I feel like you got to get into some of the specifics.
You'll just say if there's anything not good, we'll just edit or not.
Kristen's like, how much time do we have here?
That much shit. Okay, so this was the most astonishing thing to me. Kristen started talking about how her and her partner Chad love to do these weekly.
Yep.
They're like
intimacy
themes, performances.
Oh,
sometimes.
No, you know, more improvs, if you will.
Intimate improvs where they come up with a theme for the month. So one theme, the first theme I heard was latex. Latex was the theme.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It
was just like
it was a theme. That's
it's a way to.
I think you offered to loan out that suit. Actually, I was like,
I still have. Oh, I have many.
Oh, okay.
Many ensembles, like tasteful, really cute little.
Right.
You know.
But let's because I feel like a lot of couples would want to know, like, so you keep the romance alive.
Yeah. So we just decided early on that like that's such an important part of a relationship, and I think that's something that can die very easily if you're not sort of staying vigilant and tending to that, because it's really. This is the one thing that you do with the only other person on the planet if you're in a, committed monogamous relationship. So it's like that's a thing that is very sacred between the two of you, and that it can create such amazing connection. It's almost like that base of connection. Even when you feel disconnected from each other, if you like, do it, you get more reconnected.
That's like a very sweet way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's 100% not 100%, but like it's significantly about just that.
Who thought of this? Like when you guys started dating, you were like, okay, like I think that there should be like a
it's on my
contract.
Sorry, so
it's
on our one-page strategic plan. So we have a personal one-page strategic plan with like quarterly goals and
together
core values. Yeah. Well, I mainly man it. I'm really like bringing.
When he has to initial the corners.
Yeah, no. I will have like meetings about it. I'll be like, so do you start
every year in January and you're like, let's look at the year and what our family goals are, what our relationship goals.
Yes.
So it's like a new year, new everything.
Yeah.
And you draft it up and you go through it.
Well, it's one spreadsheet that I just keep like adding to.
Okay,
like,
can you give me some of the top level things on the spreadsheet? Like what's like, give me some of
so last year, like we wanted to get a house. I wanted to get Jack into a private school.
Oh God, love this for you. That's like
kind of
okay.
stuff.
So it's like manifesting a bit.
Yeah. You're putting it out there, you're putting it out, you're writing it down, you're getting it. That's really impressive. But I was not talking about Jack getting into private school. I was talking about what anal beads you use.
No, so for that, then there's these sort of like monthly things that I want to just make sure we're always doing. So it's like we like to work out together. There's audiobooks that we'll read together, and we'll have
what do you do with an audiobook you read together?
It's like book club. So you're gonna read. You're gonna read your book, do your book, whatever you want. I'll do, and then we have something to talk about. That's not just like the kids and the the day-to-day stuff. It's interesting too because we've done a lot of them. And we'll find that like we'll just bring up books. It's almost like a common language that you have.
Totally, so, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, and you'll bring it up later. And I'm such an audiobook fan.
You sit there, read, fall asleep. Bye.
Yeah.
Night.
No.
Okay, so you've got the contract, and that touches everything in your life. You've got like big things you want to achieve, and then
on the contract. Oh no.
Wait,
what happens if you like break something on the contract or like you don't live?
It's not a contract. It's more just a strategic plan for the year with your, things you want to do in the quarter, things you want to.
So if you don't hit certain things, it's not like
no biggie. Whatever. Yeah, I didn't hit a bunch of the goals from last year. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what about like the sex stuff? Who comes up with that?
Usually me.
Okay.
So actually I'm the like intimacy czar and he's the conversation czar. So we divide and conquer. So it's like you're responsible for having like fun things for us to do, for the kids, and he'll plan all that stuff. And it'll be like, you're the person that's responsible for like making us have interesting conversations. And then I'm responsible for, keeping it spicy. So we'll just like my favorite theme, and it's not as racy as it sounds, but was education was the theme.
Ooh.
So you had to give feedback,
me, baby, one
right?
more time.
So you had to give feedback on it. It's like we weren't allowed to do it without, giving better instruction to the other person. And it was, so every time we do it, we're going to not just do it and one of us will be instructing the other person on exactly
what they want.
Yeah. And so sometimes, it sounds like
student in a way.
You're supposed to be, you're supposed to give that feedback all the time, but I find that you won't sometimes. And you're just like, I just, I'll just make noises instead of actually giving specifics.
Yeah.
But that
wow. Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting you're saying this because we actually, so on our last podcast, we talked about wanting to have an intimacy expert on, and someone actually reached out to us and we're going to have her on.
Yeah.
And the one thing she talks about is she's like, I don't like to say I'm a sex expert, but she's like, I build intimacy connections. And she was even explaining like part of like the role playing or whatever it is that she's like, part of the connection starts when you just come up with like the theme. And like, she's like, that's actually where even like the foreplay starts. And it's like, it runs so much deeper than just like a fun night. She's like, you're actually building strong connections because you're talking about it before. You're probably talking about it after, like,
right.
And actually part of, so that is exactly that. So it's part of the fun for me is, okay, I'm going to be, I don't even know, like the doctor one is, I'm treading so lightly because some of the themes have been so wild.
Just give me one good theme. One. Give us like the naughtiest theme.
So we were on our way up to the cottage and I had packed a little bag of stuff. And so we were driving along. I'm like, oh, babe, I got to pee so badly. I go into the
gas station
and I change into red fishnets, a jean skirt, 2 tank tops. So like layering, like I think I had like a red one and then like the white one on top, put my hair into a high ponytail, bright red lipstick, crazy earrings, had my little backpack on, and then I just like walked out and it happened to be so busy. I was thinking in my mind, like, well, it's not that busy. Like, this will be fine.
You've come a long way from the Deepak Chopra conference.
Yeah. My meditation stint for like a month.
Oh my gosh. And you walk right into the car.
Walked like, right into the leaned car. Over. No. I knocked on the window, asked him for a ride, just explained my situation that I was supposed to go up, meet a friend. Ended up into it. Yeah, I had hitchhiked the rest of the way. And then, you're in the car. So it's, you're in the car and like, we had our conversation and one thing led to another. But it's one of those things that like, that was really fun for me to, go on Amazon and buy these fishnets and be like, do I have a jean skirt still? Oh yeah, I do. This one works. Okay, let me, what else can I pair with this outfit? And so it's all of that.
It's fun. It's fun. It keeps the romance alive.
It's just, I actually am so behind it. I think whatever you can do to feel light and happy and just keep things spicy, like you said, like, what else do you want? Like, also being a parent and being like, it's like, you have to always wear these like two hats. And it's like, like you really need to let loose sometimes, like, I feel like it's so demanding, just having to be such an accountable, responsible person all the time that like being light with your partner, doing that kind of stuff is like, I like feel that way when I dance.
Yeah, right?
No, it's just like such a release and I feel so good. And I just feel like if people could do more things like that in their life, like maybe not a contract for everyone or themes, but like
just something like that.
Just do whatever makes them tick, whatever makes you like, you're organized. So like you like to do a whole plan and a whole thing. And then you're also Miss Sexy and you want to do that too. Like you found a way to connect both things that you like to do and bring it into your relationship. And I actually think that's so fucking cool. Like, I'm in a place where like I'm really looking at relationships now and like what I want or what I didn't have or what I'm looking for. And it's like, you really have to like think about it. And like, it like, I'm kind of just one of those people that like throws myself into a situation. I'm like, let's go. Cause I have the personality to do that. But being able to kind of step back now and see and like think, it's like, what would make me really happy? Like,
I think it's also interesting because when you're with somebody for a while, that's the kind of stuff. Cause in your situation, doing some role playing stuff, that's fun and exciting, but to do it with somebody that you've been with for a long time, it's like, I'm delighted to be like, over the holidays, I went as a little sexy elf to the airport and I had a sign that said like, ho ho holiday pickups, christmaschauffeurs.com, dressed up like as if I was, hired by his buddies at B&J Holdings. They had hired me to pick him up. And just like, I knew that he was going to die. I knew he was going to be so embarrassed, but then also be like, of course you like total nutbag. You would do this so on brand. Yeah, it was really fun.
Was he traveling with anyone?
No, he was. No. He was with his coming back. Yeah.
Who would have?
He was with Marna. Oh no, I sent Marna the pictures all the time. I'm like, check what I did this weekend.
The night I met Marna was at his birthday party. Was I invited to that? Your birthday party?
It was Kristen's birthday party. Yeah.
Yes. At the Soho House. Amazing. And I just saw Lauren and this mom tangoing on the floor for hours.
Yeah.
And like, I think this is someone I should meet. I feel like she looks fun.
That's Kristen's mom.
Oh. Is that my mom?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was your mom.
We were rocking on the dance floor.
Yes. Oh yeah.
We twirled all night together.
So much.
We really connected on a fun level.
Yeah.
I love your mom.
It was very fun. Okay, so
that's and one of the other things that I love that I feel we didn't even get into on your core values, which I pulled up on my computer was
did you enjoy those?
The movie posters.
I know.
Kristen makes movie posters.
Brilliant.
Her graphic design background that that embody what her family's about. So I can show them to you, but like one is literally like choose adventure, and it's like this month coming out is like be adventurous, starring Kristen, Chad, and like
the visual.
I'm going to show you because it's
on her computer.
No, I brought it because I was like, I know you have these core values, but I was like, what?
No, so you know what? This is something that I don't even know why I don't know why I thought of doing it. I would love to claim that it was my graphics design. It was Canva. I just went and searched movie posters on Canva.
People really like Canva.
But still,
the thing about doing a core value, and I think this is such good advice for a company too, like a movie company. Netflix should be doing this. They should be
pulling this up. Okay, movie poster core value. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
Go.
So this is literally it. So hard to kill. When you think life has got you beat, think again. Core value of the month, starring.
Oh, and then we actually have
Shatner Duffins.
Yeah. Sorry. So we are a blended family, obviously. So
I felt sorry for myself for a bit. Then I remembered I'm a badass.
Yeah,
Gelato Duffins. Being brave is being afraid and doing it anyways. Banjo Duffins. I am crying. These are your kids?
So we have fake. No. We have fake family names because we all have different last names. So I'm Gale. My son's Wood because he took his dad's last name. Obviously, Chad is a different last name, and then his son's last name. So we were on this mountain biking trail one time, and it was called the Duffins Trail. And we're like, for some reason, I just find Duffins is a hilarious word and name. So we're like, oh shit, we should be the Duffins family because we all we can't say party of, whatever at the restaurant. So we should be the Duffins. And then our boys, because they've known each other forever. And so there was this stupid game that they used to play where my son would ride on the back of his son and he'd call him Mayonnaise the donkey. And so we ended up calling his son Mayonnaise all the time. The name just stuck. And then we just ended up where I'm Banjo, and then my son's Gelato, and then we made up Shatner for him. So anyway, the core values posters have all of our family names, which are,
Sorry, and when you book a restaurant reservation, is it under the Duffins?
It's the Duffins.
It's the Duffins. Okay, just checking.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So then I thought, you know what? So we've had family core values for a long time.
That's so sweet. Think of something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like it comes from
the business world, right?
Yeah.
And having core values for the business and having that really purpose. And just seeing how important and how impactful the core values have been in the business, and how we wanted to have that for it started out just being our core values. Just me and Chad for the parents. Yeah. And then we were like, this is a great way to teach those values to your children. And then I found that we just weren't using them there's a few that are very sticky, Hard to Kill we use all the time, Choose Adventure all the time.
Well, now Cheryl uses Choose Adventure. I'm like, hey, Cheryl, what are you doing today? She's like, I learned to ride a motorcycle with Kristen and Chad and Ken. And so we are taking a motorcycle trip because we choose adventure.
Choosing adventure.
I'm like, that's
And it's
insane.
You know what? And they're very funny because they get thrown in my face all the time. I hate roller coasters. And my son's like, come on, Mom, choose adventure. Be Hard to Kill. I'm like, and now I have to do it because I need to teach him that yes, the values are important and we live by these.
Is there anything you say no to, where you're just like, I choose adventure, but I can't fucking do this?
I'll rage quit all the time on certain things. When we were in Costa Rica, we went on this ATV tour. Did you do this when you were there?
We did not do the ATV tour. No,
I was told it was beginner. It was not. It was intermediate to advanced, and I don't like ATVing.
Right.
I don't like the tippy feeling. I was in charge of driving Jack. So I also felt if we tip, this is not a good scene. So anyway, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I cried, raged. And then the guide took me and then the guide took Jack. So yeah.
Okay, good to know. Good to know you have your limits.
Yeah, you have boundaries. You have boundaries like everyone else. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I find that the movie posters are so good because that's a way that the kids then can get excited. And I find that you can explain the value a little bit more, like the one you read.
Yeah.
Hard to Kill, when life gets you down, think again. And it's, funny and cheeky and ridiculous.
Do you Google that, or you just think of
you
all
just come up with them?
Just
you're just
streaming down
okay.
from the heavens.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go home and
write some goals.
You know what? I'm gonna do a lot.
Can you send us the template for your
contract with my kids?
For the one-page strategic plan?
Yeah.
The personal one? Of course I can.
I feel like that's just a good one to work off of.
It's got trackers in there. You can track, whatever you want to track. No, it's literally a spreadsheet. Google Excel
business
spreadsheet.
Okay. Yeah. But I think it's just good to hold yourself accountable. And I feel like whatever way it is, it's some people write it down or a vision boards or whatever it is. And for you, it's in the form of a contract, and that's your wheelhouse and how you're comfortable.
Yeah. How did this play in from your old relationship? We're not going to go into that, but was it so different that then you felt in this relationship you had to be doing stuff like this, or you found you know what I mean?
God,
that's what happened.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Everything that
so
I'm
you weren't
doing,
always this from your previous relationship or marriage.
No. I mean, I was really into spreadsheets and
you were always your OG self in terms of organization and whatnot, but your relationship didn't operate like this, and then learning through
business. I think when you have no failure is really failure. It's an opportunity. But I really felt that way, that okay, I failed at that, and I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I'm going to do everything that I did wrong as well as I can on this go around. And I'm going to really prioritize the relationship because, even with kids, I will always have my relationship with my kids, but when I don't want to ever put my son through, that situation again of having that. I mean, it was, it's choosing to get divorced is like one of the hardest decisions I have ever had to make. And I think it is for most people. It is really, really, it's gut wrenching. And it's also so filled with such a mix of emotions. And we were talking about this even before we started, where it's like you're happy and excited and anxious and giddy and sad and regretful and confused. And like there's this like your life is just sort of this like blank page where that can be, if for me, that's really unsettling. And so I know that's like, it was a really tricky time. And I just want to do, I want to just try my hardest to do a good job moving forward on, in my future relationship. So
that's really a nice way to think of it. Yeah. Sometimes I just feel like it's anything, not even complacent, but just in relationships, like they're just there. Yeah. They're there in a lot of ways, and friendships, business partners, lovers, whatever. It's all work. In different ways, and it's like how much you want to put in and then how much you want to take out. And like, I'm sure going through all this and, for me, even going through everything I'm going through right now, like it really is like, I felt like the people that have been there for me and the support in a variety of different ways, but it's like, you really see who comes through for you in those moments and who's like there to like, like big you up, get you to those places, be on your team to like hold you accountable to those things. Like now that your friends probably know about your contracts and all these things, like that's like inspiring to them. They probably want to like, in a lot of ways, like do better for themselves. Like to hear you say like, for my relationship, I want to do better and this or that. Like, I just think that's like something that a lot of people don't prioritize. And if you don't prioritize certain relationships, whether they are sexual or not, I just think that things can just get really. How old were you when you split from your ex?
I think it's about 5-6 years ago.
Okay. So you have been like in the business 24. So you were in the business
36. Yeah.
Okay.
How old? And so your son was like,
he was 6.
He was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the age of my eldest.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And that was the hardest part, right? You have to make that decision to say, is it better to stay for, because my parents were divorced and that was really, really hard.
Right.
And so it's like, is it better to have, him in one whole, but kind of, really hard, miserable home, or like, have breakup and then have 2, peaceful homes.
I think peaceful always wins. Happiness always wins, right? Yeah. Like, it's not that that's an easy decision to make, but that's like, you made that decision for him, right? Like if you're not happy, then you're not good and you're not, so like, it's just, sometimes what I've learned is the easy thing isn't always the right thing. You know what I mean? And that's just not always, it's just the case. So sometimes it just takes a lot more, but ultimately it's to make the right thing for you, for everyone, even though it feels impossible or hard or whatever. Yeah.
And I think that there's like, I'm excited for you because when you're so incredible and vibrant and fun and just like LOP all the time. It's going to take a while. And obviously I'm sure you're not like jumping into things for like right away, but it's when you do find that person, you do get this opportunity to just do,
you have a blank slate. You have a blank slate and you can reinvent yourself based on what you knew didn't make you happy and made you happy. It's like a new start.
Yeah. Well, and just to sum up the whole like monthly themes and contracts, I just think like there's nothing cooler to me than just like figuring yourself out. Like to me, like I'm in the process of doing that and it's like really not easy because I feel like I've known who I was for a while, but I've just been not myself.
You should write down your purpose.
Yeah,
and you should write down your core values.
Yeah, but I just feel like
make some mugs, posters.
Like, maybe I'll find my own thing. Becoming Kristen. No, but I really admire when people take control of shit. Like you know what I mean? It takes a lot of courage for you to leave your marriage. I'm sure it took a lot of courage for 24 to build this business when you had no money and like just an idea. Like all those things are very courageous. And I just think it's like, it's very admirable when people follow through with the things that they know are purposeful for them, like the right purpose for you. Like that, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people stay in happy marriages. A lot of people are in happy jobs. A lot of people don't put that much effort into what they're doing on a day-to-day basis to keep things spicy, alive, whatever. And people do need these reminders that like, life doesn't have to be just like status quo, boring, but like you're in control and you can do.
No, you only get one life. Like you have to actually,
I love that. I love that you put that on your
I'm gonna start
on your page. What was it? It was you get 2 lives.
Yeah, the second one starts the moment you realize you only get one.
Yeah. No, but I love that. I really think it puts things into perspective. And like my friend recently said to me, she's like, honestly, if you have perspective and purpose,
oh my God,
you're good.
Exactly.
You if you have those two P's in life, that is
literally not doing so good right now.
Yeah, but that
purpose is a little. I'll figure it out.
But that takes. It's not like it just comes. But if you kind of keep reminding yourself about those two things, and you can kind of come back to that, like eventually, you don't get there tomorrow, but like you work on that. That's huge.
Yep. Oh, I totally agree. Everything's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a lot of work to do.
All I know is I'm showing up at pickup.
You guys are.
Wait, sorry, did you just say you're doing a theme with me? A sex theme? Like what? You're showing up as
you did miss it, but I thought you got a little serious. You started quoting something, and I was like, "Fuck, it just went missed." My best joke of the podcast. I'm gonna just show up at pickup.
Oh, in fishnets? Are you gonna borrow some of Kristen's archived sex outfits
totally.
At the school?
Are those dry cleaned?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I'd be like in an astronaut. Oh, that's funny.
An astronaut outfit?
That could be fun. And then just like go on Amazon and be like, what astronaut items are there?
I don't know if I'm gonna go the sexual route, but I think I could do this with my kids and just like show up in funny random costumes.
Yeah.
Why not?
That'd be great. Well, we can share. I mean, it is funny because I am married to your brother, so I feel like we'll have to
yeah.
Figure it out. It's getting a little personal. But anyways, I'll delete those from the spreadsheet if we're on Google Docs.
Yeah, that sounds necessary.
Anyways, Kristen, this was amazing.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
So fun.
I love being with you guys.
We love being with you. And
great energy.
honestly,
and thanks for being you and being real and just like giving us the tea and just being as lol as you always are. Like this is literally you on the dock, you everywhere. You and Girls Weekend with the whiteboard and those Joey's margaritas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the Caesars.
Yeah. And that cute little red bathing suit.
Ooh. You mean the one that I get made fun of all the time?
Love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.